Buckle up because today we have 4 stories that are going to make your blood absolutely boil. First up, a woman whose boyfriend's 11-year-old turns her very first period into a weapon, and dad lets her get away with everything. Then a guy who proposes to his girlfriend of 4 years and gets shot down not once, but twice. After that, a boyfriend who waits up till almost 6 in the morning when his girl ditches him to leave a party with another man. And finally, a woman who opens her front door to find her crying ex-husband begging to come back, 3 years after he dumped her. So who's the real villain in each of these? Let's get into it. A woman's life gets flipped upside down when her boyfriend's daughter starts her first period and turns the whole house into a battlefield. My BF of 2 years has an 11-year-old daughter that just started her first ever menstrual cycle 3 days ago. He has full custody of her, and they started making transitions to move in with me and my 8-year-old son about 2 weeks ago. Up until this point, everything was going fairly well. The kids got along, and I thought Diane was a nice enough kid. Anyways, she walks out of her bedroom 3 days ago and tells me she thinks she started her period and was asking me the general questions on how to wear a pad, what she can/can't do, etc. All is well. I let her stay home from school after calling my BF at work to confirm plans and giving the rundown. She was crampy. I work from home, so it was no issue. All day, she interrupted my business calls to talk about her period. It was annoying, but I just dealt with it because it's her first menstrual, so obviously there's going to be a lot of questions. This wasn't even a problem. It was what followed it. She was in a great mood all day. But as soon as my BF and my son got home from work, my home turned into a war zone. My son asked if she wanted to play with him, and she screamed in his face, "I'm on my period," and literally slammed him out of her doorway. He went flying, hit the wall, bruised his shoulder, and hit his head off the door frame. My BF went to talk to her, and she starts crying. "I'm on my period. I don't want him near me." He gave her a pass for her behavior, which already pissed me off. The next day we planned a beach day, like a week ago planned it. Diane starts flipping out to a point of a full tantrum, screaming at me and my BF telling us that no, we would not still be going to the beach because she's on her period and she can't swim, and since she can't, none of US can, and she doesn't care if that bothers us. My BF cancels the trip, or tried. I told him I was still bringing my kid regardless. We get back home at 3 p.m. When I left, I had a pot of chili in the slow cooker for dinner. I find half the pot gone. Diane had been eating out of the slow cooker. My BF told me that Diane said the only thing she wanted was chili, and that since she was on her period, he had to let her. He listened to her. There wasn't enough to feed everyone now. We sent the kids to bed at 8 p.m. She comes out at 9, telling her father that she needed ice cream or she was going to snap. He originally said no. She starts tweaking out, crying, screaming. Wakes up my son. He ends up going and getting her the freaking ice cream instead of being a parent and snipping that crap in the bud. Then this morning, my BF tells her she can stay home from school again because she's still on her period. I tell him no. I'm working today, and she interrupted me all day on my last work day. She starts flipping out, screaming at me that I'm not doing anything to make her comfortable when that's what she needs right now. My BF sides with her. It's her first period. We need to learn to navigate it. I told him again that she was not staying here today. He gets angry with me and says I'm making his life harder than it has to be. His kid is still screaming at me. So I snapped and told them to pack all their crap and leave and that I was freaking done. Said that I'm glad she started her period so soon into moving in so that I could get a proper assessment of how it would be full-time, and I would be damned I put up with this bullcrap every month. They both immediately calmed down. She starts crying, saying she was just trying to make me understand. He's telling me I'm being ridiculous. I stood firm, however, and told them to get out. They're now gone, and my house is peaceful. I don't want them back here. My BF has been blowing my phone up since, telling me this is just a bump in the road, but I have never been so disgusted by anyone in my entire life. Am I the asshole for not letting them return and telling him I'm done? I did speak to her about her aggression yesterday. I told her it wasn't okay to put her hands on people, to scream in my face, to demand we cater to her and break things. She says, I'm on my period. Nothing I do right now can be held against me because I have no control, which is enough to prove to me that she does have control. She's using this as an excuse. Let's see what the comments have to say. This person commented, out of curiosity, where could she have seen this type of behavior? Because honestly, this sounds like she saw it in some movie or whatever and is exaggerating hard. Another commenter said, literally anywhere. None of her friends have started, but her dad gives her free range of YouTube and TikTok. She's not allowed to post anything, but she can view whatever she wants. The comments are firmly on her side here, calling out the dad's complete lack of parenting and saying she dodged a bullet. But what do you think? So what do you guys think? Was this person the asshole? Drop your verdict in the comments below. A man who waited years to pop the question find himself down on one knee for the second time, only to hear the same heartbreaking answer. Sierra and I have been dating for 4 years. I absolutely love her and felt like she was my soulmate. I knew I wanted to propose 2 years into dating, but decided to wait 1 more year so that I could get in a better situation financially. Last year, I proposed. It was a private proposal on the beach where we went on our first date. She looked at me and said, "I want to marry you, but not right now." She said she wasn't in the right space personally to get engaged and to give her some time. That stung, but I was okay with it. After all, I put off proposing so I can be in a good position. It's only fair I give her the chance. It's been a year since then, and I decided to propose again. This time I asked our friends to help me set it up because I wanted to do something nicer. We orchestrated a nice dinner and a proposal in front of a nice fountain in the city's botanical garden. Everything was ready, dinner went great, and we went to the fountain. She saw the roses and everything, and then I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. She teared up and told me, "Not just yet." This stung really bad. I knew I wanted her in my life forever, but this is the second time she turned me down. I asked her why, and she told me the same thing as last year. I asked her if someone was holding her back, maybe family or friend, and she just said, "I just want to make sure that this will work." This hurt me more than the 2 rejections. I told her if after 4 years she isn't sure, then what the hell will make her sure? She asked me to give her time, and I told her no. I told her that I'm not going to keep wasting my time and love if she's going to keep saying no. I told her that I can't do this anymore. She began begging me not to leave and said, "Fine, I'll marry you. Just please don't go." That made me mad, but I didn't say anything. I left. My phone has been blowing up with some of our friends, her parents, and her telling me that I'm an asshole for throwing away a 4-year relationship because she said no and that I was being a big baby. She just needs some time. The other half of our friends aren't on my side, but they're not on hers either. I don't think I'm an asshole for this. Did I overreact? Am I an asshole? If so, how much more time am I supposed to give her? Edit. We are both 29 years old. Edit 2. The second proposal wasn't done in front of my friends. They just helped me plan it and stuff. It was just her and I. Edit 3. We had discussed marriage shortly before I proposed the first time. She was into it and even told me that she couldn't see herself with anyone else. She seemed eager about the idea of marriage, which is why I was shocked the first time and then angry the second time. Let's see what the comments have to say. This person commented, "For years is plenty of time. You are perfectly right to move on. She cannot expect you to wait for her forever. She hasn't even given you a legitimate excuse as to why she can't." Another commenter said, "I would add that even with a lot of those reasons, you can still agree to a proposal. You could be engaged and saving for your dream wedding. You could be engaged and working in your career goals." Sounds like the comments are squarely in his corner on this one, saying 4 years was more than enough time. But what's your take? If you're enjoying these stories so far, remember to leave a like and subscribe for more. A guy tags along to his girlfriend's work party and ends up watching the sunrise alone, waiting to see who drops her off. I, 24 male, and my girlfriend, 23 female, and began dating in college. Last week, and invited me to her coworker's joke party. I had heard a lot about him in the past, and he and she really seemed to have a lot in common, especially with their taste in music. Apparently, he was an amateur musician with a fairly successful YouTube channel. Joe initially invited only, but when she asked him if I could tag along, he said it was fine. The party was on Saturday evening. It was a fun party with about 30 people, held at a restaurant Joe had rented out. Towards the end, though, I wandered into Anne's little discussion group, and I immediately got the feeling that nobody really wanted me there, most of all, and it was her, Joe, and a few other people. Thinking that I was just imagining things, I hung around and listened to Joe basically boast about himself the whole time. A little while later, I wandered off to get myself a drink and chat with a few other people. Eventually, the time to leave came around, and I went to find him again. Joe approached me at that point and said that he was having an after-party over at his house. I was going to refuse, but then he said, "Sorry, man, but only and is invited," while clapping me on the shoulder. I first told him not to touch me, and then said she's not going. He informed me that she had already accepted the invitation. I texted and immediately to ask where she was. She responded, "Sorry, on the way to Joe's place. I'll see you tomorrow, love you." I asked if she knew I wasn't invited, and she then left me on read. Texts after that were all ignored. I drove home furious. I stayed up all night, and finally walked in the door at 5:42 a.m. I know because I was by the window watching. I recognized the car as Joe's and the driver as Joe. Nobody else was in the car, and waved to him cutely and laughed at something he said, and came inside and acted surprised to see me still up. At that point, I flatly told her that we were done, and she had the rest of the day to move out, and was at first confused with me, and then I told her that she can just move in with Joe. She rolled her eyes and said nothing happened. She gave me this spiel about my insecurities and imagination. I said it didn't matter. After this back and forward arguing, and finally relented and sarcastically thanked me for wasting the best years of her life. And finally moved out yesterday, and it was pretty dramatic. She said that she loved me and that I was throwing away everything over a party. Did I do her wrong here? I feel like I'm getting gaslight. Let's see what the comments have to say. This person commented, "She left you at a party she invited you to, went to another party without communicating with you, and ghosted you when you messaged her." Another commenter said, "I wouldn't do this to a regular friend neither, let alone a partner with whom you're supposed to be ride or die." The comments are not buying her excuses, saying you wouldn't even treat a casual friend that way, let alone a partner. But what do you think? If you want to hear stories from different subreddits, let me know down in the comments. A woman who got divorced for refusing to have kids opens her door to find the ex who left her sobbing on the porch, begging for a second chance. "My ex-husband divorced me 3 years ago. When we got married, we agreed that we weren't going to have kids. I never wanted them. He said he didn't really want them. So yeah, 4 years into our marriage, he changed his mind, and he chose to divorce me because I wouldn't go back on our agreement and give him children. I'm not really a big believer in divorce. I was ready to be married for the rest of our lives. We had a good marriage, but I guess he didn't love me that much if he picked kids that didn't even exist over me. Right after our divorce, he almost instantly remarried. He got his new wife pregnant right away, and they have 2 kids together. In the 3 years since then, Eve finished my higher education and have accepted a high-paying job in healthcare. Life has actually been pretty good for me, and I've gotten to the point where I think I'm ready to start looking to settle down. Yesterday morning, my ex-husband showed up on my doorstep crying. I figured something pretty awful must have happened, so I let him in and got him a drink. He started going on and crying about how awful his life is. He apparently hates his 2 kids. One of them is disabled and maybe autistic, and he has no money due to the kid being so expensive. His wife yells at him all the time. She got fat after having kids and doesn't want to lose the weight she never puts out. He can never go anywhere anymore. He said that he wants a divorce from his new wife, and he regrets ever leaving me. He asked if I would take him back and said he learned his lesson. I couldn't help but laugh at him. It was so pitiful. His audacity also kind of astounded me. I told him that with 2 kids to support and his lack of loyalty, he is not a catch, and I definitely won't take him back, and maybe this was karma for divorcing me. He was pissed, called me an asshole, and said he thought I would be more supportive and would at least turn him down nicely. Am I the asshole? Let's see what the comments have to say. This person commented, he does realize that divorcing his wife doesn't make his responsibility for his kids go away. Right? Right? Another commenter said, he suggested he would pay child support and we would basically pretend the last 3 years never happened. The comments had an absolute field day roasting this guy, though a few wondered if the laughing was just a little harsh. So what's your verdict? So what do you guys think? Was this person the asshole? Drop your verdict in the comments below. And that's a wrap on today's Batch of Chaos. For stories from messy situations, and I want to hear exactly where you land on each one. Were these people justified, or did they cross the line? Scroll down and drop your verdicts in the comments, because I read them all and the debates are honestly the best part. I've got even wilder stories lined up for next time, so stick around. I'll see you in the next one.